Hungary often feels like a mystery in the heart of Europe. It's a landlocked country surrounded by Slavic, Germanic, and Romance-speaking neighbors. Yet Hungarians speak a language that sounds nothing like any of them. It's not related to German, Polish, or Romanian. Instead, Hungarian belongs to the Finno-Ugric branch of the Uralic language family, which, interestingly, links it more closely to Finnish and Estonian than to any of its neighbors. But here's the question scientists have struggled with for centuries. If the Hungarian language is Uralic, does that mean Hungarians themselves come from Siberia or the Ural Mountains? Or are their genetic roots much closer to Europe than their language suggests? For decades, historians and archaeologists debated the true story of Hungarian origins. But now, thanks to breakthroughs in ancient DNA research, scientists are finally piecing together the real genetic roots of the Hungarian people. And the results may shock you. The mystery of the Magyar. Hungarians call themselves Magyars. According to medieval writings, their ancestors arrived in the Carpathian Basin, the area of present-day Hungary, around the year 895 AD. They came as horse-riding nomads, sweeping across the plains of Europe from the east. But where exactly did they come from? A blend of East and West. One of the most surprising discoveries is that modern Hungarians are genetically much closer to their European neighbors than to people from Siberia or Central Asia. In fact, most of their DNA looks like that of Slavic and other Central European groups. Ancient DNA evidence. To dig deeper, scientists looked at the DNA from skeletons found in old Magyar cemeteries. These samples showed that the first conquerors had a lot of DNA from Siberia and the Ural region, along with some from Central Asia. But what about those old ideas linking Hungarians to Attila's Huns? Ancient DNA does show that nomadic groups from the steppes like the Huns, Avars, and Magyars all had DNA from the steppes, but they were not the same people. One of the biggest puzzles has always been the Uralic link. How can a people living in Central Europe speak a language related to Finnish and Estonian, thousands of kilometers away? Some researchers say Hungarians are like a genetic time capsule of movements across Eurasia. Their DNA, holds layers of history. Farmers and herders from Central Europe, steppe DNA from nomadic groups like the Magyars, Avars, and even earlier Scythians. There are also signs of Siberian Uralic DNA from their language ancestors and, even small bits of Turkic and Central Asian genes, which show hundreds of years of contact with the steppes. So, what does this all mean for Hungarian identity today? It means that Hungarians are European by their genes, but their culture and language carry the memory of old movements from the East. They're living proof that culture and language can sometimes last longer than DNA. The story of Hungarian DNA is part of a much bigger question. How much of who we are is written in our genes, and how much is carried in our language, traditions, and culture? So the next time you hear Hungarian being spoken, remember this. Behind that Uralic language is a people whose DNA has traveled across the steppes, mixed with Europe, and carried the memory of movement for over 1,000 years. Hungary's genetic story reminds us of a deep truth, that our histories are rarely simple and who we are is always richer and more complex than it seems.